I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Google AJAX language API. I was playing around with a little bookmarklet that we can use here, say, looking at my Twitter, we've got the odd thing here that's in a different language, so we've got something in French, and I've got no idea what that means, so I can just go select it, hit translate. It's going to go through and give me my actual translation. I can move that around. Same thing on the Real Madrid site, watching the soccer, wonder what Calderon actually said, go ahead, boom, it's going to go through and tell us there are moments to enjoy together. Now, of course, what this is getting back isn't going to be the perfect translations. That's really hard to do, but it gives me enough information. For example, I was actually playing around with a bug. I was getting this annoying exception here when I was actually building this out with a prototype widget, so I just wanted to see kind of what people were saying, and the answers and stuff were actually on a German site, so again, like this, I can go through, get the translation, and it gives me enough information so I kind of know what they're saying, even though the translation isn't actually perfect. So this bookmarklet is just something I created quickly, and the bulk of the code is actually just this piece right here, doing the actual translation. I'm going through, doing a load of the language API, and I'm giving it a little bit of information on what I want back, and then I'm first doing a detect to try and have the system automatically know, oh, this is probably Spanish, this is Italian, this is German, and then once we've actually got something back there where it thinks it has something, I'm actually going through and doing a translation, and so then it's going to try and do the translation, and if there's something there, it's going to go through and translate it for me, otherwise it's going to tell me that it's not. As we go down here, all I'm really doing is doing the display logic, so this is that call to actually send up that little window using the new prototype UI window here to set the information, headers and footers and stuff, and if this didn't get loaded for some reason, because with the bookmarklet sometimes you get collisions and stuff like that, just go ahead and alert it in kind of a simple way. And then this is all of the ugly hackery to actually load in the files from the bookmarklet, so go through and load the actual main JavaScript, load the CSS for that little widget. And then finally, to kind of get things kicked off, this is the actual initial call to load the Google APIs. And then notice here we've added a callback, and this is actually a fairly new, it's months old, but a fairly new way to do the dynamic access. So the chain will go through and it's going to call that API loaded. If we don't have that, it will just manually call it, and then that's when things kind of kick off. It'll kick off to this guy, and then it will start doing his work. And again, we've got another callback that's going on here, so we've got these kind of recursive callbacks that give us what we need. One other little kind of cool thing that I noticed the other day was the Mibit IRC client that's purely web-based. If we go into a chat room that's hopefully talking, we can see this new translation system, and we can go through and say take the English and make it French, and now if people started to actually talk on this like that, we see it automatically did the translation into French. So it took the English where it worked it out and did it to French, and then the translate me would be if I'm in a channel where I didn't speak English, I could then come in and type in my native tongue and it'll translate it into English for me. Again, I think this is pretty cool. And then one last piece of the puzzle is, if you go into the documentation, you may notice that we just had this new Flash and other JavaScript environments piece. This means that you can now go through and you can do translations from the server side. So not just going through the AJAX world, you can just go through, do a little JSON call that the curl is just kind of mimicking here to do the translation. You can do it all using server-side technology or anything that can understand HTTP and JSON. So I hope you guys are making some interesting uses out of the new language API.